Hello, marketer. It's Ty here, and welcome to another episode of Lean Mean Marketing Teams. I'm excited today to introduce our guest, David Cannington, co-founder, executive director, and CMO at Nuheara, a hearing technology company that creates advanced hearing buds you can personalize to suit your hearing needs. Nuheara is an innovation success story out of Perth. Just recently, they were awarded the Time Magazine 100 Best Innovations Award in 2020, and they've picked up Company of the Year by Consumer Technology Association and an Innovation Oz Award. In today's episode, we discuss the journey of Nuheara and how David and his co-founder Justin Miller saw the opportunity to create a new market category in consumer hearables, the challenges they've faced on their 7-year journey so far, up against other market giants like Apple and Amazon that have started to enter the space. We also chat briefly about David's 30-year experience in Silicon Valley and the perspective and opportunities this provided. We then switch gears and talk about how David has built a world-class in-house marketing team at Nuheara, which is complemented by specialist agency partners. Nuheara has 7 global Shopify sites, and we learn how their go-to-market strategy has evolved before and after COVID with a strong e-commerce play and an emerging retail channel is finally getting behind a hearables category. We then finish with David's insights into how Nuheara has emerged to stay ahead of the curve with their cutting-edge technology, how marketing stays connected to the customer to create purely authentic marketing and to bring customer insights back into product development. And we chat about why speed and agility is so important. As always, there's a lot covered, so to save you time making notes, we've done that for you. Dylan on the team has listened back to the episode and summarized the episode into a 3 to 4 page PDF with all the tips and strategies laid out. To grab a copy, head to our website, growthgenerators.io, head to the podcast section, look out for this episode and download the notes. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Welcome to Lean Mean Marketing Teams with Ty Hayes, where you'll hear from leading CMOs and thought leaders about what it takes to create a high-performance marketing team. This podcast is brought to you by Growth Generators, a consulting firm that helps CMOs design and build modern marketing teams that drive growth. If you need help optimizing your marketing team, head to growthgenerators.io. Now, let's get on to the show.
Welcome, David Cannington, co-founder, executive director, and CMO at Nuheara, to the Lean Mean Marketing Teams podcast.
Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, good to catch up again over the podcast today, and really excited to discuss how you've gone about building a global hearables from scratch into a global leader, the secrets to disrupting industries and almost creating a new category. And then I'd love to dive into how you built a modern marketing team and innovative culture. How does that sound?
That's good.
So before we get into it, though, I always like to start with a little bit of background on your career. What are 1 or 2 pivotal moments in your career that have had the greatest impact on where you are today?
Yeah, I've had a kind of unusual marketing career because I started out in classic consumer packaged goods marketing, worked for United Biscuits in the UK, came back to Australia, worked for Cadbury Schweppes in a classic sort of marketing role, and then moved across the fence into advertising, worked for McCann Erickson in Sydney, moved to San Francisco, fell in love with an American woman, worked for McCann Erickson in San Francisco on Del Monte, which was another packaged good major manufacturer in the US.
Yeah.
But I've always been a bit of a rebel and an entrepreneur at heart. And within 12 months of moving to the US, I saw the opportunity to open the US market for an Australian digital imaging company. Back in the old Cytex days where it was digital to plate in printing. And so I did that for quite a while, and it really introduced me to the whole ecosystem of helping Australian tech companies into the US. And I pretty much lived in San Francisco for 30 years and spent a large share of that time helping Australian tech companies into the US as either a founder, a co-founder, an advisor, or an operator. And my last company was Nuheara, which we actually founded 7 years ago with head office based here in Perth, and I moved to Perth about 3 years ago. So I sort of went from classic marketing into entrepreneur, using my marketing skills to build businesses.
Yeah. Brilliant. And obviously the FMCG focus a lot on category building, understanding the customer and brands, and then advertising, above the line. I mean, what were your big takeaways from that packaged goods and advertising start, and how has that carried forward in your career?
Well, it was a different time back then. I mean, really, digital marketing. This was back in the 80s. worked in the ad business in Sydney in the mid 80s. There's lots of great stories to tell in that one.
It's a long lunches, I bet. Yeah.
Yes, that was the kinder side of the industry.
Yeah.
Getting work out of creative directors after 2 p.m. a real challenge. It was a lot slower back then. It was kind of more disciplined. Took a lot longer to understand the effectiveness of what you were doing. You'd do a TV campaign and it would take ages to really understand how effective. Now it's just instantaneous, spontaneous, data-driven.
Yeah.
And I love it. I prefer today to 30 years ago because you can respond quickly. You can test and take a lot more risks without risking the bank on it.
The whole budget.
So that's what I love about today's marketing ecosystem and environment is it just gives you tremendous amount of options to be really just significantly better at what you do. You know, and you can make mistakes, so long as not big mistakes, you can move on and learn from it. So I think that what did I learn back there? I think that the disciplines around brand and about messaging and positioning were sort of instilled in me. There's nothing more valuable than spending some time with really, really smart advertising strategists to really hone your message and understand the problem and come up with 2-word solutions to the problem, you know, which is really condensing your message. So those sorts of disciplines that were really instilled in me on the ad side of the fence, I've taken them through my whole career. Yeah. So I think that was big learning back in those days. And really being an entrepreneur is my passion. I'm just not a 9-to-5 manage up kind of person. I'm just not good at that. So So I think it's all about finding really good people. You can't build businesses unless you find great people to help build business with you. I've always been surrounded, certainly in the last 15 years since I've been in the hearing business, with some really good engineers and product people that have made me look really good, I suppose. So,
Well, I think that the simplification and distilling and clear communication is obviously so critical in a complex technology product that you've got. So I can see how that's played out for sure, and distilling that into a message. And when you're creating a new category, your messaging needs to be really sharp to explain what that is, define that, and speak the right language to the right audience. Let's get into it. Tell us a little bit more about Nuheara.
So Nuheara's been around for about 7 years. We're the classic overnight 7-year success story. Essentially, Nuheara is a company that's trying to disrupt the hearing business. We're across, our main product is a cross between a high-end earbud and a hearing aid. And we've really spent 7 years attempting to make hearing health more affordable and accessible to the hundreds of millions of people around the world who don't have accessibility to affordable hearing solutions. Hearing is really an epidemic. The World Health Organization predicts that 2.5 billion people in the world by 2050 will have some degree of hearing loss. It's 1.5 billion now. It's a big problem, and the industry is pretty much owned by 5 major companies who own 95% of the revenue, 60% of the channel. And it's one of those industries that you'd like to think is ripe for disruption. But we came to it from a very different angle. When we started the business 7 years ago, we were essentially pioneering the earbud business. We were, I laugh at when I think about what we were pioneering back in those days. It was one of our key value propositions was no wires. I looked at one of our first ads that we did, video ads that we did back then, and the value proposition was you solve the problem of tangled wires, which is pretty rudimentary, but we were also pioneers in the hard stuff, and that's augmented hearing, being able to allow someone to control their sound environment through an app and a cool pair of earbuds. And that was truly innovative back in those days. First generation product brought out in 2016, launched at CES after a crowdfunding campaign. People were just blown away by the tech, and now we're into our 3rd generation and working on our 4th generation. It just gets better and better. And the beauty of what we do from a personal perspective is that we change people's lives. And every single day we get a message from a customer that through our products and technology, we've helped them hear better or improve their quality of life. And that gives you a reason to come to work every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Purpose is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to feel motivated every day. And so powerful to make a difference like that. And how did you and your co-founder, Jason Miller, land on this as the opportunity? Like, I think you had some backstory in another similar company, but how did you identify this kind of hearables in the consumer market?
Yeah, so Justin Miller is my co-founder. He's a Perth guy. I met him in Silicon Valley when I was running a program helping early stage Aussie tech companies into the US in one of his previous companies. I met him there. He started a previous hearing technology company that's still going. It's based in Perth called Sensia. And it was an industrial headset and wired earbuds that had the ability to be able to separate speech from background noise in loud industrial environments. So where you were compelled to wear hearing protection, our technology enabled people to communicate face-to-face, connect to your Bluetooth and two-way radios and still remain situationally aware. So he started that company. I came on board not long after he started it. I'm based in San Francisco as the first US employee. He ended up moving to San Francisco and we built the business globally. And we had distributors pretty much on every continent around the world. So it was a very interesting journey. Took me to lots of different places around the world. But fundamentally, the idea for Nuheara came about the experience of seeing people have the user experience of being able to hear conversations in loud industrial environments. We used to see really tough blue collar, middle-aged men almost brought to tears because they could hear like they hadn't been able to hear. And so we really thought long and hard about the opportunity and felt that if we could solve that problem at the consumer level, there was a big business opportunity there. And the technology wasn't quite right when we were at Sensia. So we ended up leaving Sensia, and about 2 years later, felt that the time was right. The technology had developed to a point where we could actually pioneer this new category of augmented hearing in a truly wireless earbud. And that's what we did in 2016.
Fantastic. So what was your first major challenges then that you faced as co-founder and CMO to create this new category, get the funding, go to market? Where did you start?
I think we had to, there was a lot of challenges, obviously, lots of obstacles. I think one of the biggest challenges initially was just getting the technology right. It wasn't an easy thing to do. There weren't that many people doing augmented hearing. There was a lot of companies that are attempting to do it, but most of them fell by the wayside. So digital signal processing was the core technology that we used to be able to separate speech from background noise, but then you had to bring in Bluetooth capability, NFMI technology, which essentially allows the earbuds to talk to each other. Then you've got to build an app, and then you've got to connect to the phone. I mean, it's just, the technology is really complex. Lots of different areas of innovation that you've got to embed into a product like this. So we had to get that right. And then obviously funding was because we're essentially a hardware company. We're a hardware and software company. So you don't start a hardware company on the smell of an oily rag. You've got to raise quite a bit of money. So we had to raise, I think we set a goal of raising $5 million just to get the first product out the door. So we had to do that. And then obviously we had to market it and tell people about it. Start building brand. That we did our first working wearable prototype in January of 2016. It proved one thing, and that was that we could separate speech from background noise in loud social environments. Didn't have any other technology. So that first working wearable prototype only did that. But we were able to prove that we could do that and do it effectively. So we saw the same impact that we saw from users in the industrial sector, in the consumer sector, and we were super excited. The idea was validated because of that. And so that was January 2016. April, May, we did a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo of that year, raised $1 million. It was very successful. January 2017, we brought product to market, launched at CES, won a whole bunch of awards at CES that year. And that was really the beginning of the product launch journey. So 2018, we launched our next product, IQ Buds Boost. 2019, we launched an IQ Stream TV at CES, and then 2020, we launched Max, which was our third generation. And Max has by far been the most successful product that we launched. It's a significant improvement from where we were generation one.
Yeah.
Won a whole bunch of awards at CES, and we won time best innovations, best 100 innovations 2020. So we got a lot of recognition for the brand, for the product, for the brand, for the company, and so it's been a pretty interesting journey, and yet most people don't know about it.
There's still a lot of opportunity, right? Ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard to build a global brand.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah.
It
sounds like you've followed kind of lean startup principles. You identified an MVP focusing on the key feature that you knew would make a difference. And then you've gone about testing and modifying and, adding new features and new products as the market develops. Had you and, Justin kind of read that book or intentionally followed those processes, or has it just come about that way?
I think it came about that way. We're both marketing guys at our core. So we're big believers in bringing product to market as quickly as possible and timing it the right way. Timing and luck is always the most important part of being a successful entrepreneur. So it's been interesting. It has really been our big platform to launch new products. And we've been very successful at doing that. Yeah. From the first one we did all the way through. And so it's been a fantastic show to go and launch our brand and launch new products. And the relationship that we have with the organization that runs CES, which is the Consumer Technology Association. They put on the largest technology show in the world in Vegas. We, fortunately, this year, we were voted Company of the Year by the Consumer Technology Association, the world's largest technology association. That says a lot about.
Awesome. And then as the business has matured, how have the challenges changed?
Well, I think with size, as you grow, the challenges become more people-based rather than product and marketing-based. We've now got 50 people on the team here.
Yep.
With culture is very important. So you've got to work harder at culture. You've got to work harder at pushing decisions through a complex group of people that all have opinions.
Yeah.
You start to see the challenges of just getting things done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
4 years ago, Justin and I would sit in a room, have a long argument, and put our different opinions on the table, and then make a decision and just get it done.
Yeah.
Now it takes a little longer, but we've got fantastic people and really talented people on our team that contribute to better decisions being made. Right. So that's one of the biggest challenges, I think, is building culture and making sure you can be as agile as you were 4 years ago when you were smaller. I think that the constant challenge that we have, and it just gets harder and harder, is just innovation. Right? Is just staying ahead of the curve and making sure that what you're delivering to your customer is the best, in the world. And because we've received a lot of accolades over the last 7 years as an innovator, there's constant pressure to continue to do that. And so, there's a lot of pressure on everyone to make sure that we drive innovation as quickly as we possibly can and as well as we possibly can. And I think the third challenge is when you look at building businesses, you always see the stages of, if I climb that mountain, I'll get to the promised land. And then when you get to the summit, you realize, oh God, there's another mountain there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the secret is to make sure you're the second and third mountain. Right?
Yeah.
So one of the challenges is climbing those mountains. And right now as a company, we are climbing a pretty significant mountain because we're really evolving from, truly wireless earbud or hearables company into a medical device company. So midway through next year or sometime next year, we will be launching FDA approved hearing aid. And so transitioning from where we are today into FDA approved products landscape is pretty complex.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing to do. It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
But I've been saying every year for the last 7 years, we climb this mountain, we'll get to the promised land, and then you get to the mountain,
Yeah.
another mountain to climb. So
Yeah.
it's no different. It's just different degrees of complexity. That's all.
And as long as the team knows what the next summit is, I think they'd get bored if they arrived on the mountain and said, we're here,
Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's no place for boredom at Nuheara.
No.
Sure.
No. Fantastic. Well, I might switch gears then into building a modern marketing team and work out what role the team's played in the success of the company so far. But what I usually like to do is start with a bit of a category question first. One of the beauties, I think, of this show is interview CMOs from a bunch of different sectors. And obviously each sector has different needs and requirements from their marketing team and different ways they go to market. So I think it's useful and interesting, at least for me, hopefully for the listeners, to find out what are the defining features of teams within a hardware tech company that also has strong e-commerce. So yeah, what's unique or surprising about the makeup of teams in this sector, do you think, compared to others?
Look, I think from our perspective, when I came to Perth 3 years ago, we really didn't have a marketing team. And my belief was that we could build an in-house agency, right, with all the capabilities that you'd expect from an in-house agency. So I hired a digital marketing director. I hired an art director, graphic designer. I hired a full-time videographer. I hired a social media manager.
Yeah.
And there was me, because all those capabilities I felt were really critical to have in-house. And because of my background in marketing, I probably needed to rely less on external expertise rather than understanding what you can do yourself.
Yeah.
So I hired a fantastic team, but I also realized that there was areas of specialty that we needed to outsource. So Facebook, Instagram, Google, email marketing. So we've got 3 different unique vendors that advise us and help us in those 3 areas. So the vast majority of content development in-house. Video is a really important part of our marketing mix. We take real pride in capturing our customers' stories. It adds authenticity and a realness to what we're doing. So we've invested a lot of time and money in capturing. I think we've got probably over 30 customer spotlight, what we call customer spotlight videos now. That tell,
well, it's such a transformational product, isn't it? It literally changes lives, and the best way to tell that is through video.
It's personal, it's real, it's authentic. And what blows my mind about our videos is that they're not scripted. We don't tell them what to say.
Yeah.
Right. But they say what we want them to say. It just blows my mind how they articulate the benefits of the product and how it's transformed their lives.
Totally in tune with the customer.
Yeah. So we're pretty lean. We've got to really watch every dollar we spend in marketing, but having in-house capabilities like that has been really helpful for us.
Wow, there's been a lot covered in this interview so far. As a marketing leader, we know you like to spend more time taking action and less time taking notes. So we've got you covered. We packaged up all the tips, strategies, and resources from each episode into some beautifully crafted notes just for you. Not ugly AI-generated transcripts, but real notes taken by a real person on our team. To grab the notes, head on over to growthgenerators.io, look out for this podcast episode and download the notes. But be quick, they're only live for a few weeks after the episode airs. Now, back to the show.
What do you think works well in this structure, having all those skills in-house and then outsourcing to those specialist agencies, and what doesn't work so well, or what do you think you might play around with in future?
I think that the digital marketing landscape changes so rapidly, as you well know. So you've got to constantly look at what's working and what isn't. We're having real challenges with Facebook at the moment, like every other e-commerce company of our size and in some cases larger. Creative ways to leverage other social media platforms. Like we're starting to do some really interesting stuff on TikTok. We're just looking at, we're using YouTube a lot more, just looking at other ways to more effectively spend our marketing dollars for the right kind of return. I think fundamentally, the strategy is have your core capabilities in-house, but understand that you need specialists to come in and help you in areas so you don't have a real deep expertise.
Yeah. Do those agencies provide some training and help upskill your team in-house a little bit as well, so they've got a deeper understanding of what they do?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You've got to know enough to be dangerous in-house
Yeah.
to keep them honest.
Yeah.
You use them as specialists. So you learn from, you're constantly learning from them.
Yeah.
You'd like to think that they're taking the next level with their expertise. And really, and one of the beauties of having external partners like that is that they get a broader perspective on the landscape through other clients that they do business with and learnings they have. And that's really what you're paying partners for, is to bring that expertise from a broader vision of what's working and what isn't.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I find fascinating about your business is it is mostly e-commerce, isn't it? Like, you have some retail partners, but a lot of it's delivered through Shopify and various global Shopify sites across the globe.
It's actually been an interesting journey in that respect.
Yeah.
So when we first started, we felt that our channel to market was through retail. I mean, in the early days, we had partnerships with Best Buy and Harrods, and we were in retail stores all around the globe.
Yeah.
And what we learned pretty quickly was that, and quite expensively, was that people don't go shopping for hearing. And they may go into a Best Buy store and go to the truly wireless earbud or the headset, area and see Nuheara and go, well, augmented hearing, what does that mean? I'm just getting my head around active noise cancellation.
Yeah.
So in those early days, we sold really well into the channel, but the sell through wasn't where where it needed to be for us to scale our business. So we took a long, cold, hard look at what we're doing and said we have to control our own destiny. So we built out a direct to consumer business with 7 Shopify sites around the world, became quite self-sufficient. And frankly, that helped us through COVID. I mean, the timing was perfect because we had a direct to consumer business that was fairly mature. And then when COVID hit and retail died, we were able to capitalize through our direct to consumer. So here we are, Christmas 2021, and retail's back.
Yeah.
And we've now, like for instance, Best Buy have just launched a hearing category in store.
Okay.
And we're one of 4 products that are in their hearing category. And in actual fact, we're going to be putting out on social today that we are in their Christmas print catalog that's going to 2.5 million households around the US. And we're the only hearing product in that category. Wow. So Best Buy's, in partnership with us, starting to consumerize hearing health, which is exactly what we've been wanting to do for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
So retail is starting to come back for us. Direct to consumer is probably not as strong as it was 12 months ago, but we've got retail starting to hit its strap. So this omni-channel strategy is where we should be, and if all channels, and we've also got an OEM relationship with HP. So if all those 3 categories all those 3 channels are firing, we've got a really, really strong business. We've just got to get the balance right.
Who are your key personas? Because I think to some, they may think it's a slightly different audience. Originally, when I heard of Nuheara, I thought it was more the hearing aid, the older demographic, but I know you've got a number of different personas. Because my other question related to that was just the experience of purchasing something online, not knowing if it works. I assume you need to have pretty good returns policies or how you get around that so people feel confident to buy it, knowing that it's going to work, given it is kind of a health product, but they haven't actually been able to test it. I guess it's not unlike buying glasses online if you haven't tried the prescription, but can you talk us through the different personas and how you manage that customer experience?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a challenge because we are talking about a personal health issue that is tough to do if you're not face to face, but it's very possible. Our main avatar is someone who is recognized they've got a little bit of hearing loss, but are not ready for a hearing aid. Right.
Yeah.
So it's, if you look at the average age of our customer, they're 53.
Okay.
The average age of a hearing aid customer is 72.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Our goal as a company is to really establish that brand relationship with a customer at the early stage of the hearing health journey and take them all the way through. Hence the reason why we're going to be bringing out a hearing aid next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the idea of building a strong, deep relationship with a consumer when they're just starting to recognize they've got some hearing loss and they want to do something about it, but they're not ready for a $5,000 hearing aid or going to see an audiologist. That's really where we step in. Now, we're not an alternative to a hearing aid. We can't say we're an alternative to a hearing aid because we're not a hearing aid at this stage. But when you talk to our customers, quite a few of them have actually bought our product either as an alternative to a hearing aid or a complement to a hearing aid. So there's a lot of people out there that buy. I mean, I try and have a conversation with a customer or two customers every week because I just like to hear from the horse's mouth what's going on, right? So we've got that avatar, that hearing avatar, male, 50 to 65. We also have a number of other avatars which are quite strong for us. One is tinnitus. Our product, 4 out of 10 of our 5-star reviews are self-diagnosed as having tinnitus. Now, so it's not a guarantee that we can help people with tinnitus, but some people with tinnitus really find our product and the technology useful. So we go after that avatar. And then there's also a couple of other avatars that we've recognized, even though we didn't start the company to solve this problem, our technology really helps people with auditory processing disorder.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
So they really struggle to process their sound environment, become very overwhelmed, almost to the point where they can't go into a shopping mall, it make them sick or whatever. And so because we allow them to control their sound environment, lower the background noise, elevate speech, turn the world off, turn it on, we've found that some people find that incredibly helpful.
Yeah. And what was in the market before you guys then? So if there's this loss of hearing between the 50 to 70 and people wait till they're 70 to get a hearing aid, what were people doing before Nuheara? Just waiting up with it.
Yeah. And that sort of summarizes the challenge we've always had. It's a very difficult thing to create a new category. It's a lot easier to say, hey, we're a hearing aid. We look like an earbud and we're a lot cheaper than a hearing aid down the road that you get from an audiologist. It's a lot easier to say that because there's context to the proposition. For us, we've never been able to say that we're an alternative to a hearing aid. We're not allowed to call ourselves a hearing aid, but yet we offer a hearing benefit. So we've had to be able to communicate that in a very careful way to make sure that we're honest, we're authentic, but we don't overpromise. And we don't cross the line when it comes to regulations and FDA and TGA, et cetera. It's been a bit, that's been a market challenge, big time.
I bet. But it also strikes me as the innovator's dilemma. Like you've come in at the low end of a market, like there's the hearing aids that are charging $5,000 to $7,000 a pop. You've come in at a lower level of the market that they're probably not going to bother playing in. They're going to say that's too low margin for us. You build a market in that space and then you say, hi guys, we're now moving up market into hearing aids, look out. And we've got this huge database of people that love our product and we'll probably be able to offer something even cheaper than those. And they're going to get their lunch eat.
Well, that's the plan. I think it's a winning strategy. It's you've got to be able to execute on it. Great companies do really hard things, and hope that they survive. Doing great things because it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So we absolutely believe that our future is in just drilling deeper into the hearing health ecosystem and helping the consumer from the beginning of the journey to the end of the journey with world-class products and accessories and a layer of service that they're extremely satisfied with.
And it will open up like more challenges as well that next summit, won't it? Because you're going to have to build relationships with audiologists and medical practitioners and a whole other network of go-to-market.
There's a lot of, you can sell hearing aids direct to consumer as well.
True.
But the one thing I didn't mention to you is, and that's why it's such a big opportunity, is that there's a piece of legislation that was actually passed 4 years ago during the Trump years called the Over-the-Counter Hearing Aid Act. And it was meant to be passed and brought down 2 years ago because of COVID. The FDA put it on the back burner, but they've actually just passed the guidelines and regulations, and we will be able to sell an over-the-counter hearing, or people will be able to sell an over-the-counter hearing aid within back half of next year in the US, which is a massive opportunity. It's what Best Buy's starting to get into it.
Fantastic. We might then move into this innovation culture. Touched on a little bit, but obviously winning a Time Magazine Top 100 Inventions of the Year, Company of the Year by Consumer Technology Association, and Innovation Oz Award doesn't happen by accident. You've talked about this importance of staying ahead of the curve and being known as this innovation kind of leader. So what does Nihiro do differently to create a culture of innovation?
It starts with people. So we hire really, really good people who are passionate about what they do. All of our teams work class. We've just got an extraordinary team of innovators. The passion to do something extraordinary drives that culture, and also being able to move quickly and be nimble. Everyone can innovate. The secret to successful innovation is speed.
Right?
Both internally, but both being able to break down the walls of internal friction to innovate, and then to market. Speed to innovate and speed to market is absolutely key. We've done that better than anyone. And we're competing against some of the biggest technology companies in the world. AirPods. We don't see AirPods as competitive, but the bottom line is they're selling truly wireless earbuds, and all the big tech companies are, and from Amazon to Google to to Microsoft, and there's no product out there that's more advanced than our product. I mean, we are truly the pioneers and innovators in this space, and it's because of our pedigree, before Nuheara that really helped, but also because we move quickly and we make quick decisions. So that would have been easy when it was a small team. How have you kept up that agility now you are 50? It probably starts with the mindset first, right? Do agile training. Obviously, the mindset's more important than the tool set and the practices. But what is it about the mindset and then the practices that enables you to move so quickly? I think that you just got to push. You just got to push really hard. Right? You got to set deadlines. You've got to set both challenging and realistic deadlines and stick to them. I think that's really important. You've got to set milestones that you can follow through on. And you've also got to have the vision of this technology can go to. We spend a lot of time thinking about where can it go? Where's the next stage? What do we have to do to our product to make it world leading in 12 months time or 2 years time?
And is that product development? So how then does the marketing team work with product development and other parts of the business to be on the same page in terms of knowing what products coming out, either informing product development through the customer insights that you get and making sure that, everything's in lockstep?
I think you talked about the key term, customer insights. We have a lot of feedback loops to the customer, whether it's me talking to 2 customers a week, that at the basic level, to our customer reviews through our customer service team. We follow our NPS religiously, daily, and we evaluate it every week. And so we have our Kendo customer review platform and Ask Nicely NPS platform. So we watch that very, very closely, and we're open to feedback. So it really does start with the customer. So we're getting all these customer feedback loops feeding into both what we're doing from a marketing perspective and where customers' needs and wants are that feed back into the research and development team. And of course, we've got, as I said earlier on, we've got world-class innovators in the engineering team, research and development team. So they've also got a strong opinion of where the technology is heading and what we can do to be world-class and innovative.
Fantastic. And do you run does your team work in Agile in any ways in terms of sprints or sprint planning or retros or?
On the engineering side, that's inbuilt discipline.
And does it carry forward into marketing as well? Or they just work at a fast pace, but without those practices in.
Yeah, I think
place.
that we're a little more free flowing in the
Yeah.
marketing area.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
I mean, this morning is a classic example.
Yeah.
Right? My co-founder Justin Miller did a fantastic podcast with one of the leading hearing cult podcasters in the US,
Mm-hmm.
and it just got released this morning. And it's probably one of the most powerful audio pieces that has ever been done on our company, from the journey through to they actually interviewed one of our customers, and it was beautifully edited, and super proud of that. So we had to get that out in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And then the next story came through literally an hour later that we knew this was going to happen, but we got a copy of the catalog, the Best Buy catalog that was going at 2.5 million households.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the world about that. That's in the last hour.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know,
Case in point. Yeah.
so you've got to be really, from a marketing perspective, we've got to be really nimble,
Mhm.
right? And understand that things are going to change on a daily basis. Whereas in the engineering team, they've got a goal,
Mm.
and they know they've got to sprint in that sort of one direction
Yeah.
to get to that goal.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
we're going to go, okay, let's multitask, anything
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah.
So
Just priorities, as you know. Brilliant. Well, before we get to our Fast Five, I've got one more question around leadership and culture. I believe as leaders, we learn by our mistakes and others can learn by ours. They don't make the same ones. With that in mind, what is your greatest leadership regret, mistake, or lesson, and what did you learn from it?
wow. Biggest leadership mistake. I think that my biggest leadership mistake has been holding on to people for too long when they were not right for the stage of the business that we were at.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're hiring people at the beginning of a business, starting a business, you look for different skill sets and capabilities.
Yeah.
And then when you mature to the next stage, you realize that you
Yeah.
probably want more of a specialist in that role rather than
Rather
an
than
all-rounder.
Generals. Yeah.
You
That's
got
right.
you got to find that. You got to find the right time to transition your
Yeah.
team.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great insight. Never easy, and easier in hindsight to say, yeah, should have done that sooner. But at the time, other things kind of get in the way, and sometimes decisions you put off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. We are now up for our Fast Five. Are you ready?
Sure.
So what do you believe are 3 essential capabilities or criteria of a high performance marketing team?
Attitude, discipline,
Mm-hmm.
and a unending passion for what they're doing.
I like that. BP. And how would you describe your team's culture in one word?
I would say they're flexible.
What's one metric you've successfully used to track and measure team performance?
We're a metrics driven marketing team.
Mhm.
We live and breathe on return on ad spend.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's a metric that we follow minute to minute, basically.
And what's one skill or capability you've learned recently that you wished you'd learned sooner in your career?
So we've just invested in Rocketbox.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's a attribution platform.
Okay. Yep.
Geez, I wish I had something like that years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Powerful.
attribution and conversion rate optimization,
Mhm.
2 of my passions at the moment.
What book or books have you read that you found yourself recommending to others, or you think our audience may gain value from?
Well, the last book I read was 1984. And that's not probably related to our profession,
Yeah.
but it was pretty eye-opening in terms of what's happening in the world at the moment.
Okay.
And that kind of both scared me,
Mm. Mm.
but also opened my eyes to what's possible. Look, I'm not a big business book reader. I listen to a lot of podcasts. My favorite podcast is Hidden Brain. I don't know whether you've
Hidden Brain. Oh, yeah, I'll check that one out. Haven't heard of it.
Cool.
Brilliant. Well, where can people go to get in touch with you or to learn more about Nuheara?
Yep. You can email david.cannington@nuheara.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter. and Nuheara, nuheara.com, nuheara.com, or just search IQ Buds.
Fantastic. And we'll put all that in the show notes. Well, David, thanks so much for coming on the show. It was fantastic to learn about the journey of Nuheara, how you've gone about creating a new category and some of the challenges with that, the success you've had in the 7 years, some absolutely amazing accolades on the journey so far, and such a big opportunity ahead with that FDA approval and getting into more of the health space. I'd love to hear how you've built the modern team with the in-house skills and that kind of complemented with the outsourced providers and the specialists in that. And lastly, how Nuheara's managed to create that innovation culture in the team to stay ahead of the curve and keep innovating. So thanks so much for your time and coming on the show.
Thanks, Tyron. Appreciate it. Really enjoyed the session.
You've been listening to Lean Mean Marketing Teams with Ty Hayes. If you love the show, please remember to hit subscribe so that you can discover more tips and strategies to build a high-performance marketing team. And if you're feeling generous, please tell someone about the show who you think would benefit. We're on a mission to help CMOs build their dream team and enable marketers to do their best work. And we appreciate your help in spreading the word.